Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Bradley. This is my channel, Portly Gentleman. My channel, I usually do home brewing stuff, focusing on brew tools and other high-end home brewing equipment. So this video is not going to be that. So if this is your first time here, I don't always do car stuff. First time I've ever done anything involving automotive. But I think this is a good chance for me to kind of share my viewpoint on the subject and kind of go into more detail about the choice that my wife and I are going to make. So I've had a Doge Charger HellCat for nearly 3 years now. I love the car. It's a great car. My wife has had a Subaru, like a 16 WRX since before we met, with a 6-speed clutch. I'm not really for that sissy shit. But she likes it. It is fun to drive. It's painfully slow, even with a chip and mods. So I am an electric brewing enthusiast. Also kind of maybe electric car enthusiast, potentially. We have Tesla solar on the roof, a power wall right over my shoulder. I'm able to brew with solar power, and then even brew at night if I wanted on solar using my B80 Pro. So in this video, we're gonna jump right into me driving the Tesla Model Y with my wife, what I think about it, how I react in terms of what I'm used to driving. At least for fun, I drive my HellCat. I have some Ford trucks that I usually drive. Please keep in mind that I'm not an automotive journalist. I'm not a pro driver. I actually found it kind of hard to concentrate and kind of narrate and focus on driving. If I slowed down, it might have been easier. I only have one GoPro. I've never rigged a GoPro in a car, so there is a little bit of shudder in the footage. It's not horrible. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, so we won't be doing Canaan today. That's absurd. But you can feel the power. So we just got out of the HellCat and we're test driving a Model Y Performance. And this car is definitely fast. It feels so much different than the HellCat. It's fast, but it's just very robotic. It doesn't have like any sort of, the back end doesn't come out. It doesn't make a lot of cool sounds. It's not nearly as fun to drive, but having said that, this thing is a weapon. Absolutely a weapon. No other way to describe it. You could take corners extremely hard and just fly. I mean, luckily we're in Mexico today, and not much concern about that. But it is an absolute monster. Wow. Yeah, so very impressive. And the nice thing about this is it's quiet, so you can really tool and no one really knows that you're tooling. So it could also be pretty dangerous because this thing puts on speed like not much else. I mean, at any point you want it, you're just back in the seat and railing. So we've driven the regular model, and we weren't sure if it was worth it for the $10,000 or $9,000 premium they want for the Performance. It's still a lot of dough, I think, but truthfully, it's probably the one to buy if you want to go fast. The other one was peppy, but this one is legitimately quick. There aren't many people that'll be able to pass you, I wouldn't think. Let's jump on Mulholland. A lot of bikes. Again, Mulholland's a street in Mexico. Wish I had my radar detector with me or the Waze app, but it's handy in Mexico. This thing is a weapon. Also slow down and just enjoy the scenery. So I think we're more and more thinking that this is the right decision to get rid of the HellCat and also the wife's WRX. Both are not in stock trim, and just go to one car for the two of us. Well, that still leaves me with a couple of diesel Fords pickups, but that's what you need, is at least two of those in your life. I will say, when under power, this thing really sucks down the battery. We started with like 270 miles of range indicated, and it's been just a few miles. We're showing under 250. I think that's based on the way I've been driving too, which has been pretty nutty. If I knew more about the car, I think here we could see what I was doing. There's the rock store we just turned around at. Popular place. Rock shop. Rock shop. The wife wants to drive it through some windy roads. You want to drive it, babe? I'm stuck behind that Volkswagen. You don't care?
No, keep going.
Why?
Just driving.
Alright, so we're going to go from a dig right now, guys, before I kill the battery too much. That's flat. It's impressive. You know, we're in a residential in Mexico. Right?
Model Y if we were in a HellCat.
If we were in a HellCat, that CHP would have been very keen to talk to me about whatever it was I was doing. Well, this is less fun. But he's just doing his job, same as I do mine. All right, so we're going to call this one good. Man, driving this car, it's different than the HellCat. It's not as visceral. It doesn't have the personality that car has. I think this one can kill you just as quickly, honestly, with its speed, and I think there's a false sense of confidence. Maybe as I got used to driving it, I would become confident in the tires and everything, but it really is something. Don't let these things fool you. They're great cars. I think for the money, the performance is great. For the luxury and the interior, what you get, I don't think you get enough. There needs to have some buttons or switches, more than just this infotainment. I think Tesla's pulling a fast one on everyone. Oh, it's so minimal and great. You know, that's my big thing I don't care for, is give me some more stuff inside of here. Some nicer finishes up on the dash. It's soft, but it's like spongy soft. I don't think it's that great personally. So I would really like to see a lot nicer finish on the dash. All right, we just got out of the Tesla Model Y. Actually, it's been overnight. I decided I want to really kind of think about the experience I had in the car, and really just kind of really give a chance to let it kind of soak in and marinate with me. We jumping right into my HellCat. I'm very familiar with it. So here we go. So the Tesla Model Y didn't have the same level of driving dynamic. It doesn't have it as this HellCat does. It's got well over 700 horsepower. Stock they're like 707. My car's been fiddled ever so slightly. I've got bigger tires. Got an 11-inch wheel in the back with Pirelli P0 Corsa Extremes, 315 in the back, which is a fat tire, and a 295 in the front on a 10-inch wheel. Big Brimbos all around, and it's absurd. I cannot. This car, even with the big tires turned up, you know, in first gear it's a burnout machine. In second gear it breaks them loose. Certain, you know, stand out in the freeway at 60, it might get squirrely. So it's not for the faint of heart. by any means. The ZF transmission, it downshifts, you know, super quick and sweet, and the car just hammers around corners. For a 4,000-pound car, it definitely does it. You know, the seats are giant and comfortable. They're air conditioned, something I like. The car has many driving modes that I've come to really enjoy. I wasn't even floored. You know, if you put it in the track mode, it's all over the road if you're not careful and you know what you're doing. Or in the standard setting, the suspension is relatively, it's actually quite compliant. It rides better than the Model Y Performance because this has an adjustable suspension. You hit a button, you have 3 choices, and there is a difference between all 3. It's noticeable. You know, when this car is in the stiffer mode, there isn't a lot of body roll. It's there. I mean, this is a big American muscle car, but it's not as noticeable as one might assume. And if you're used to driving it, you can really hammer around corners far faster. Signs that say, you know, 30 miles an hour, 85, you're fine. As long as the road's warm and the tires are warm. Or you can just kick it into automatic and just cruise. You will have some drone from the supercharger and the exhaust. If you put the car in a normal mode, it has an active exhaust. The exhaust quiets down, and it's a great GT car. I'm able to cruise on the highway, and I don't pay much attention to economy. I can tell you my average on the car for almost 3 years now. Only have 12,000 miles, but my average is like 11.5 miles per gallon. I've seen as good as 22 on the highway, but I wasn't having any fun, and I've only seen that once, because what's the point? You only live once. In our situation, we're gonna, you know, we're getting rid of my wife's WRX. We'll dump this. I'll still have my F250 Power Stroke and my F150 Power Stroke, so I'll still have plenty of options for me. But for us as moving forward, it makes sense to eliminate this car. We think. Just I'm having a little bit of trouble because that Tesla, the steering is in the sport mode. It was pretty firm, but it's not like this. Has an old school hydraulic rack, so there's a lot of really good feeling that comes through. You can feel the road, feel these bigger tires. It's what driving should be, but I suppose for the everyday person, they don't care. This car for us, for me, it's just purely a toy. It's just an indulgence, which makes me lucky. I know that I can have this car and you barely do, yeah, I guess almost 3 years and just over 12,000 miles. It just gets driven on the weekends or when I really want to get to the grocery store in a hurry. And keep in mind, none of this, we're wide open. Just because the wife will freak out, she's next to me. And she does. Point too much throttle and it's going to come loose. So it's fun. It's a handful. It's not going to be for everyone. And I wouldn't call this a luxury car. It's definitely an American muscle car. I mean, it's a very expensive rental car, basically, with an expensive motor and a somewhat decent suspension. And the Tesla, many people try and act like it's a luxury car. The Model Y is not a luxury car by any means. All right. I know I just said that Tesla isn't a luxury brand. I mean, there are some things it has. It's super quiet inside, guys. There's no sort of rattle or any road noise is minimal, even on those 21s with whatever size tires is on them. So it does have that going for it. It is quiet, no creaks. This car is also very new, the one we're testing. The seats aren't great. They fooled you into thinking this interior, this minimalist interior is somehow premium. It's not premium. There's nothing in there but a giant screen. It does everything, it's cool, but there's no buttons. There's no tactile feel really with the car. So it's not a luxury car. It's the build quality inside is something like a Toyota. It's not that nice, but a Toyota 5 years ago. So it's definitely an entry-level kind of car in my opinion. It doesn't have cloth seats. It's got leatherette, which might be a fancy term for vinyl. I'm not sure exactly, but that's kind of what I felt like. It was just vinyl seats, and those used to be cheaper than cloth, or they are cheaper than cloth. And I get a little bit of a rub every now and then with tires that are under hard cornering that really aren't made for we're pushing the limit on what I can fit on this car. But limits are made to be pushed. Anyone that knows this road, Balcom Canyon in Mexico, is really it's a nice one. I hope my GoPro hasn't moved. With the supercharger, even the stock car, it's just limitless power. It comes on, you have crazy amounts of torque. But the stock cars, with their stock all-season tires, they do not put power down. So anyone that's comparing anything to a stock HellCat with a stock tire, it's a joke. I'm not quite sure why Dodge does it. Maybe they think it's funny. I really wish they would put like a really good summer tire in the car like it needs. Once you do that, braking is improved, traction is improved, everything is as it should be for the amount of power they have. I just blew them off. There's some bikes. We'll slow down for them. We don't want to scare them. Kind of a large dip here that nobody likes. So I absolutely love this car. Every time I get in it, it puts a smile on my face. The power, the noise. Truthfully, for a big car, once you get comfortable, and it handles better than one would think. Plus, there's so much power. You can catch other cars that outhandle it just in a straightaway. But I'm not into track driving. Just blast around on back roads and hauling ass when safe. But where the Tesla wins in my book is, we have Tesla solar at home, Powerwall. I definitely think that all that stuff is the future. Electric cars are the future. That Tesla is fast. I mean, stand on it. It definitely takes it a second to get going. Well, not a second, but split seconds. I think it could hit harder, and I think it should hit harder. Off the line, the Model Y Performance seemed like it was holding back. It has more to give. I really wish it was a little more visceral feeling, because the HellCat has that in spades. Also, I believe that this car, my HellCat and a Model Y Performance, have about the same real world range, the way I would drive it, or even the way my wife would drive it. I think you'll be going just as far on a full tank in a HellCat or as a full charge in a Model Y. I think there's gonna be no difference when this car is driven properly. I know some owners don't really, you know, they baby their cars, and they just don't push them hard enough. You know, that's great, but if you're not going to get in a HellCat and own one and go 180, it's lost on me. But you're allowed to have one. It's a free country. You know, you're able to do whatever the hell you want, and that's what's awesome. There's the one giant elephant in the room, is that I mentioned earlier, in the Model Y, you're able to just tool and no one knows you're tooling. You can be a total idiot in silence. In this car, everyone knows that I'm railing. They know I'm tooling on it really hard. The police the next block over can probably hear me. They can hear me for many blocks. And I run a factory exhaust for that reason, because it's loud enough and I don't want the attention. So the fact that the Tesla, I can silently just hammer past everyone and whip wherever I want,
User mark ahead.
that's a real big plus to me. Fuck stop signs. This turn is a nasty one here coming home. It needs to be respected. I've come way sideways in it before, and there's a house right there. But you put the HellCat back into just street mode, or at least the suspension, and it all smooths out. If you want to do a launch and get the best possible, quickest time, you need to have everything into track mode except for the suspension. Put that into street. It'll let it transfer some weight a little better. And from a dig, it's better. I can tell you, from a dig in a HellCat, you will bend suspension components. Don't be fooled. These cars have a lot of power. You throw more power at it, put a big sticky tire, and it actually hooks, things will bend. And that's just something you need to know. The Tesla, you're kind of, you know, there's not really a power. I know some of the Model 3s you can purchase, you know, I think it's reasonable for the power you get, $1,500 or something. The price per horsepower is fair with the aftermarket, and you can buy a little extra grunt. And that's great. It's awesome that Tesla does that, because no one else does. But in the aftermarket, and this car, I could go spend another, you know, $4 or $5 grand and have 1,000 horsepower. Maybe closer to 6, to be honest with you. All right, so at the end of the day, obviously I have some gripes about the Tesla. The interior, I'm not a fan. The car drives good. It's really fun to drive. And at the end of the day, it's not all about me. It's about my wife. What does she want? What does she deserve? Frankly, I think she deserves a car that performs and is safe and is nicer than her WRX. The Model Y performance does tick all of those boxes. For me, the thing's a weapon, like I said. It hauls ass. It's American made. I like that. I'm going to be sad to see the HellCat go, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we are going to save at least $400 a month by doing this. And in my mind, that's more money for brewing and other stuff. All right, so thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If you guys want to see more kind of automotive stuff or more stuff that's out of my typical wheelhouse you're used to, let me know in the comments. If you're one of my regulars, guys, I really appreciate the support. It means the world to me. I hope this one didn't push you guys away. It's just me. I had a really good time doing this. All right, guys. As always, this has been Bradley. Remember, home brewing is good, and so are cars, guys. It's fun. Drive safe. We'll see you soon.